Most people believe that their financial problems will disappear once they earn more. They assume that moving from $1,000 to $3,000 or from $5,000 to $10,000 per month will fundamentally change their financial trajectory. In practice, this assumption is often incorrect. The key issue is not income level itself, but how income scales relative to financial structure. Without a system, higher income tends to increase consumption, not capital. At $1,000 per month, financial pressure is obvious. Rent, food, and basic expenses absorb nearly all income. There is little or no capacity to save. The constraint is visible and measurable. However, when income increases to $3,000 or $5,000, the constraint becomes less visible, but it does not disappear. It shifts. For example, consider two individuals. Person A earns $1,000 per month and spends $950. Person B earns $5,000 per month and spends $4,800. In absolute terms, person B appears financially stronger, but structurally, both operate with a similar margin, 5% of income. Over 1 year, person A saves $600, person B saves $2,400. At first glance, this seems like a significant improvement, but over 10 years, without investment, person A accumulates $6,000. Person B accumulates $24,000. For someone earning $5,000 per month, $24,000 after 10 years is not financial security. It covers a few months of expenses, not long-term independence. The pattern continues at higher income levels. At $10,000 per month, many increase housing costs, transportation, and lifestyle spending proportionally. Expenses often rise to $8,500 to $9,500. The savings rate may improve slightly, but not enough to create meaningful capital. Over time, this creates a false perception of progress. Higher income, higher consumption, limited accumulation. Even at $20,000 per month, the same structure can persist. Larger homes, private education, travel, and upgraded lifestyles absorb most of the increase. The result is a financially complex life with limited liquidity. The underlying problem is that people optimize for lifestyle at each income level instead of optimizing for capital formation. Income growth is treated as permission to spend more, not as an opportunity to accelerate asset accumulation. This leads to a predictable outcome. Income increases, but net worth grows slowly or inconsistently. Now, consider the long-term effect. If a person earns an average of $7,000 per month over 15 years but maintains a 10% savings rate with no structured investing, they accumulate approximately $126,000. Adjusted for inflation, the real value is significantly lower. At that point, despite earning over $1.2 million in total income during that period, the person does not have financial independence nor a system that generates passive income. The critical mistake is not low income. It is the absence of a scalable financial structure that works across income levels. Until that structure is defined, moving from $1,000 to $10,000 or even $50,000 per month does not guarantee wealth. It only changes the size of the numbers, not the outcome. The problem persists across income levels because most people do not change the structure of their financial decisions as their income grows. They adjust spending, but not the system behind it. There are three main drivers behind this: income structure, behavioral adaptation, and the absence of a defined allocation model. First, income structure. Most people rely on a single active income source, salary or business revenue, directly tied to their time. At $1,000 to $3,000 per month, this is expected. But even at $10,000 or $20,000 per month, the structure often remains the same. The income increases, but it is still linear. More time or more responsibility equals more money. There is no separation between earning and capital growth. Second, behavioral adaptation. As income rises, expectations adjust. A person moving from $2,000 to $6,000 per month does not continue living at the $2,000 level. Housing improves, transportation upgrades, discretionary spending expands. This is not irrational. It reflects a natural response to increased capacity. However, without constraints, spending grows faster than necessary. For example, consider a professional earning $4,000 per month who increases their income to $8,000 within 3 years. Instead of maintaining fixed costs and redirecting the additional $4,000 toward assets, they increase fixed expenses from $2,500 to $5,500. This includes a larger apartment, a financed car, and higher recurring lifestyle costs. As a result, their monthly surplus remains around $2,500 to $2,500. Income doubled, but free capital did not. Over a 5-year period, assuming no investment discipline, this person may accumulate $150,000 to $180,000 in total income surplus. But because the surplus is inconsistent and partially consumed, actual savings may be closer to $40,000 to $60,000. The gap is not due to insufficient income. It is due to uncontrolled scaling of expenses. Third, the absence of a system. Most people operate without predefined rules for allocation. They save what remains after spending rather than defining spending after saving. This reverses the logic of capital formation. A second example illustrates this more clearly. Compare two individuals earning $10,000 per month. Person A saves whatever is left and ends up saving 10 to 15% inconsistently. Person B allocates 30%, $3,000, to investments before spending after 10 years, assuming a modest 6% annual return. Person A, saving an average of $1,200 per month, accumulates approximately $200,000. Person B, investing $3,000 per month, accumulates approximately $490,000. The difference is not income, it is structure and consistency. Standard financial advice often fails because it is either too generic or disconnected from behavioral reality. Recommendations like spend less or save more do not define how to adjust decisions as income changes. They do not address fixed costs, income variability, or psychological adaptation to higher earnings. Additionally, advice is often presented as static percentages without context. A 20% savings rate at $2,000 per month is fundamentally different from 20% at $15,000 per month. The absolute impact, investment capacity, and margin for error are not the same. As a result, people follow simplified rules without understanding their limitations. They may believe they are financially responsible because they save something, while in reality, they are not building scalable capital. The core issue is not lack of discipline in a general sense. It is the absence of a system that evolves with income and enforces capital allocation regardless of lifestyle changes. At this point, the pattern becomes clear. Income alone does not determine financial outcomes. The decisive factor is how income is structured, allocated, and scaled over time. Most people repeat a small set of mistakes across all income levels, and these mistakes compound over 5, 10, and 20 years. The first key mistake is treating income growth as a signal to increase fixed costs. Fixed costs, housing, car payments, subscription, are structurally different from variable expenses. Once increased, they are difficult to reduce without disruption. For example, a person earning $6,000 per month may commit $3,000 to fixed costs. If income increases to $10,000 and fixed costs rise to $6,000, the flexibility of the system decreases. Even with higher income, the ability to redirect capital into investments becomes constrained. Over 10 years, this creates a measurable gap. Scenario A, fixed cost at 50%, savings/investment at 30%. Arrow, $3,000 per month invested. Scenario B, fixed cost at 70%, savings/investment at 10%. Arrow, $1,000 per month invested. Assuming a 6% annual return, Scenario A accumulates approximately $490,000. Scenario B accumulates approximately $160,000. The difference is $330,000 over the same period, with identical income. The second mistake is saving instead of investing. Many individuals accumulate cash without deploying it into productive assets. This creates a hidden loss due to inflation and opportunity cost. If someone saves $2,000 per month for 10 years with zero return, they accumulate $240,000. With 3% annual inflation, the real purchasing power declines to approximately $180,000 in today's terms. In contrast, investing the same $2,000 per month at 6% results in approximately $330,000. The difference, $150,000, is not due to higher income, but due to asset allocation. The third mistake is inconsistent allocation. People often invest irregularly. Higher contributions during good months, minimal contributions during average months. This breaks compounding. Consider two individuals over 15 years. Person A invests $1,500 per month consistently. Person B invests an average of $1,500 per month, but inconsistently, large gaps, delayed starts. Even with the same nominal average, Person A benefits from uninterrupted compounding. At 6%, Person A accumulates approximately $435,000. Person B accumulates approximately $300,000 to $340,000 depending on timing. The loss is driven by inconsistency, not income. The fourth mistake is failing to separate income from capital. Many high earners, even at $20,000 to $50,000 per month, rely entirely on active income. They may accumulate assets, but those assets do not generate meaningful cash flow. Over 20 years, this creates dependency. If income stops, the system collapses. In contrast, someone earning less but consistently investing into income-generating assets, dividends, index funds, real estate, builds a parallel income stream. For example, Person A earns $20,000 per month, invests minimally, and relies on salary. Person B earns $8,000 per month, invests $2,000 consistently at 6 to 7% after 20 years. Person A may have high lifetime earnings but limited passive income. Person B may generate $3,000 to $5,000 per month from assets alone. This shifts financial independence from theoretical to practical. The final mistake is not adjusting strategy as income increases. Many people apply the same percentage-based thinking at all levels. However, higher income provides disproportionate advantages, faster capital accumulation, access to better investment vehicles, and greater margin for error. Failing to leverage this leads to underutilization of earning potential. Across all these cases, the conclusion is consistent. The primary constraint is not income level. It is decision structure. Two individuals at the same income can end up with a difference of several $100,000 over 10 to 20 years. This gap is not random. It is the direct result of repeated financial decisions applied over time. The solution is not increasing income alone. The solution is building a financial system that converts income into capital in a predictable and scalable way. This system has three core components: fixed allocation rules, controlled cost structure, and automatic investment flow. First, fixed allocation rules. Instead of saving what is left, you define percentages of income in advance and apply them consistently at every income level. A practical baseline looks like this: 50 to 60% living expenses, including fixed costs, 20 to 30% investments, non-negotiable, 10 to 20% flexible spending and reserves. The key principle is that the investment portion is calculated first, not last. If income is $4,000, a 25% allocation means $1,000 goes into investment immediately. If income increases to $10,000, that becomes $2,500 automatically. This creates a direct link between income growth and capital growth. Without this rule, income growth only increases consumption. Second, controlled cost structure. Fixed costs should be actively managed and capped. A useful constraint is keeping fixed obligations, rent, loans, subscriptions below 40 to 50% of income. For example, at $8,000 per month, fixed costs capped at $3,200 to $4,000. Remaining income retains flexibility for investment and adjustment. If fixed costs rise above this level, the system becomes rigid. Any disruption in income immediately creates financial pressure, and investment contributions are often the first to be reduced. Controlling fixed costs is not about minimizing lifestyle indefinitely. It is about ensuring that lifestyle does not eliminate investment capacity. Third, automatic investment flow. The system must operate without relying on monthly decisions. This is achieved through automation. Each month, a fixed percentage of income is transferred into investment accounts immediately after income is received. The process is mechanical. 1. Income arrives. 2. Investment allocation is transferred, for example, 25%. 3. Remaining funds are used for expenses. This removes variability and eliminates the need for discipline in each individual decision. The investment itself should be structured around simple, broad, and repeatable instruments. For most people, this includes diversified index funds, retirement accounts, or other assets that track overall market growth rather than individual selections. For example, investing $2,000 per month into a diversified portfolio with an average return of 6 to 7% annually leads to approximately $330,000 after 10 years, approximately $700,000 after 15 years, approximately $1.2 million after 20 years. These numbers are not based on high-risk strategies. They reflect long-term averages of broad markets. The stability comes from diversification and time, not from short-term gains. The final component is scaling. As income increases, the system does not change, it expands. At $3,000 per month, a 25% allocation is $750. At $15,000 per month, it becomes $3,750. The structure remains identical, but the impact accelerates. This is why the system is stable. It does not depend on timing, predictions, or complex decisions. It depends on consistent allocation, controlled costs, and long-term exposure to productive assets. In practical terms, this approach removes the need to figure out finances each month. The system defines the outcome in advance, and execution becomes routine. At this point, the entire model can be reduced to a clear and repeatable system. The goal is not to optimize individual decisions, but to build a structure that works automatically across all income levels. From $1,000 to $1 million per month, the system has 4 steps. 1. Define allocation percentages before income is spent. 2. Cap fixed costs to preserve flexibility. 3. Automate investment contributions immediately after income arrives. 4. Scale the same structure as income increases. This creates consistency, and consistency is what produces predictable financial outcomes over time. Now, consider how this system changes results. After 1 year, the impact is mostly structural, not dramatic in absolute numbers. For example, someone earning $5,000 per month and investing 25% will allocate $1,250 monthly, or $15,000 annually. At this stage, the main change is behavioral. Investments happen automatically, and spending adjusts around them. Financial decisions become simpler because the system defines priorities. After 5 years, the effect becomes measurable. With $1,250 per month invested at 6% annual return, the total capital reaches approximately $87,000 to $90,000. More importantly, this capital starts generating its own growth. Annual returns begin to contribute a noticeable portion of total gains. At the same time, income may have increased. If income rises to $8,000 and the same 25% rule is applied, monthly investments become $2,000. This accelerates the process without requiring a new strategy. After 10 years, the difference becomes structural. Continuing the example, first 5 years, $1,250 per month approximately equals $90,000. Next 5 years, $2,000 per month, additional approximately equals $155,000 to $170,000. Total capital reaches approximately $250,000 to $270,000, depending on returns. At this level, annual growth alone may generate $15,000 to $18,000 per year without additional input. This is the point where capital begins to partially replace income. Now compare this to a scenario without structure, where the same individual increases income but maintains inconsistent saving. The difference after 10 years can easily exceed $150,000 to $200,000, despite similar earnings. The system is not dependent on reaching a specific income level. It works at $2,000 per month and at $20,000 per month. The only difference is speed. To apply this immediately, the process is straightforward. Step 1. Calculate your current net monthly income. Step 2, set a fixed investment percentage, minimum 20%, target 25 to 30%. Step 3, set up an automatic transfer on the day income is received. Step 4, review fixed costs and reduce them if they exceed 50% of income. Step 5, choose a simple, diversified investment vehicle and contribute consistently. No optimization is required at the beginning. Precision improves over time, but the system must start with clear rules. What changes is not only the amount of money, but the role of money. Income becomes the input, not the outcome. Capital becomes the mechanism that generates future income. Over time, this reduces dependency on active work and increases financial stability. Not immediately, but predictably. The key point is simple. Financial outcomes are not determined by income level alone. They are determined by how income is structured and repeated over time. Once the structure is in place, higher income accelerates results. Without it, higher income only increases complexity. The difference is not theoretical. It is measurable and it compounds every month.